Markus, thanks very much for joining us here. It would be interesting to get your take, I guess, on the financing markets, particularly as we look towards 2024.
Well, 2024 will not be much different than this year. We see limited transactions in the market. There are requests there, but not as many. The market has dried up because of the steep increase of the interest rate. The price finding needs to be there. The inflation needs to come in, and that will determine a new level of the market. We are still open for business. However, we need to reserve part of our risk-weighted assets for impact of valuations and how the our book will be impacted by that to maintain the capital ratios.
And there's obviously been concern flagged up by the ECB. How do you think the sort of actions of the central bank are going to be influencing the finance market and particularly banks like yourselves?
They have raised concerns already a couple of years ago, was that it's bubbling as inflation, there's an asset price inflation because of low interest rate environment. There were warnings out there. We always prepared our underwriting, always assessed the risk in a way that at the exit of a transaction, we have a healthy debt yield and we don't over leverage any transaction. I think so did most of the bank. So the banking sector is very well prepared to even go into next year and we will not face a big financial crisis.
And do you think there's going to be a drive to sort of extend some of the loans to get over, I guess, the next year, the next 12, 18 months?
Well, there are not that many loans expiring actually, because in the last decade there were a lot of loans taken out for on a 10 years tenor. So the expiry schedule is stretched out. It's slower than in the other years where you had an average of 5 years loan term. So the expiring loans are less in the next year than usual.
And do you see the banking sector significantly stronger, I guess, than the previous crisis?
The measures after the great financial crisis which have been taken have held the banks at bay. Some of the regulatory requirements are over the top, but for what concerns the capital reserves, the banking sector is very healthy.
And in previous crises, ESG has taken a back seat. Do you expect actually that to be much more of a focus in 2024, 2025?
The ESG focus, the big topic ESG was last year, the year before, everybody was talking about it. Today, it's a normal part of assessment of a risk. Every investor who buys a building says how old this is, how dated this is, and what do I need to do it, and that will determine the price. And so do we as a bank in our underwriting. We look what needs to be done and how do we look at this investment at exit, that we are in a good shape now.
And I guess in terms of 2024, are you glass half full, glass half empty? What's your sort of view?
Tend to be positive, but I think next year is going to be even worse than this year. We are not through the valley yet, so still have a way to go.
Great. Thanks very much for joining us, Markus.